aficionados on this Chess Dojo podcast. Several people like GM Jesse Karai. I am David Press. I don't know if his name is correct. Press. I am Kostya Kavutsky. Talk about the Magnus Carlsen Chess.com scenario. But I thought that this moment was very interesting. A contemplation of how Magnus Carlsen is out of the World Championship. He does not want to do the World Champion. He was a World Champion 5 times. Now it's going to be Gukesh versus Indarov. But let's see what happened in this commentary by these people I mentioned.
Been terrible for chess is when I think about, okay, when did Magnus start to withdraw from classical chess, which has really hurt the World Championship. We're going to talk about that more when we wrap up the pod with Sindavar clinching today, right? We'll talk about that tomorrow, but it's very much hurt the chess world that the greatest player, at least right now, is completely out. So now we have World Championship. It's a little bit meaningless. And so as a fan, I'm crushed by it. But anyways, what I'm trying to say is when I trace it back, it has there's a distaste of playing happens then. And he starts withdrawing. He doesn't want to play in events because it's like, oh, maybe I'll then have to deal with this kid and I don't want to play him, all this stuff. And so that withdrawal from, active play where he used to play all the time kind of, in my mind, really starts then. Now he's basically
it's a key moment in Magnus's career. That's as I was saying before, he got really hurt there. And Hans in the documentary is like, I take great pleasure from knowing how much I hurt Magnus,
Yeah. So for me, what I felt like the documentary kind of not got wrong, but I think is probably a choice they made. I feel like they were kind of taking Hans's side in the narrative because if you just watch the documentary, you would think that there was no evidence that Hans cheated OTB. If you didn't know anything else about the story, that's what you would take away, that he cheated online, but there was no evidence that he cheated OTB, which I think is just not true. I think there was no conclusive evidence that he cheated OTB.
Right.
But I think there was a very clear reason why Magnus and Nepo and Hikaru and all these other top guys were already suspicious of Hans before that tournament. Right. I don't think that's a coincidence. And I don't think it's just because of his online cheating. Right. There are many people that have been caught online that are not all, lambasted like Hans was. Right. So it's said that Magnus considered dropping out of the Sinkfield Cup before the tournament even started because of Hans's participation. I think Nepo also strongly considered dropping out of the tournament because of Hans's participation. That's not something they would do just because they don't like the guy, right? Because he's arrogant. That's something they will only do if they're if these players are really, really, really suspicious of him.
Right.
Okay. So there's going to be the Rapid Blitz in Warsaw, Poland in May coming up quite shortly because today's April 28th, 2026. And guess who's not playing? Magnus is not playing, Hikaru's not playing, but Hans is playing. So what do you think? Is this really cracked and it made a rift in the chess world, this Hans versus everybody else situation, or this is how things go? The older ones just slowly like a conveyor belt fall off and the new ones come in. What are your thoughts on all of this? Thanks for watching.